The sun goes down, its crimson rays light up the dying day. A startled glance I throw behind and count my triumph share. Each day of my life I make or mar, each deed begets its kind. Good, good, bad, bad, the arrows fly, too late to change the
Good morning. Let us talk about Dharma today. You might wonder what we have been talking all the other Sundays, because it is the Dharma that we are only talking about. And what is that Dharma? People quickly translate the word Dharma into the meaning faith or religion. That is the meaning that comes out from the Sanskrit word dharma. And the moment we think that dharma means religion, many other things that wells up in our mind, and that is more about further confusion and contradiction and conflict than one whole homogeneous idea or principle that is going to help us, benefit us. When you translate in this very simplistic way, dharma, oh, that is religion. And therefore, dharma is more about, it is a function of heart than a function of brain. It is something about our emotion, the emotive faculty, than our intellectual aspect of us. It is not that we deduce and we rationalize. It is about we fall a prey of it, or we fall in love with it. We accept it, and we try to rationalize it. First we accept it, and then we try to explain to everybody else why this is the real thing. And that creates a whole lot of other problems from there. When we do like that, then more we grow dharmic or religious or faithful, more we become fundamentalist, more we become dogmatic, more we are intolerant, more we are actually lean towards what we see in the name of religion happening everywhere. The hatred, the persecution, and everything, bloodshed, and whole lot of terrible thing that is in the name of religion, or call it dharma. So it creates an idea to the person who is on the sideline, who is not in the mainstream of religion or dharma, or following something with that kind of zeal and dogmatic enthusiasm. To that person, it will appear like the dharma is more about creating problem in religion. It is about inflicting harm and pain and division. It is about deteriorating the mankind instead of saving it as it claims. Religion claims that it is to save, it is to protect, It is to help you become superior, better, higher, and reach the highest level of your spiritual propensities. All religions claim like that. But when we think in these lines, as I have been trying to analyze, it doesn't look very prospective to explain to you that how it could do that. Because in the name of Dharma, in the name of religion, there is so much of problem created in the human society. If you are not very strictly following Dharma, then fine, you are fine. But if you are very, very religious, then you become a kind of sectarian or in a particular group, and you classify yourself in one way and classify others, separate others in another way, and you are separated from others. And is that the intention of your dharma, or what you call a faith, religion, belief system? So what we need and what I'm going to talk today is about, let us clear the air a little bit and let us remove some of the confusions that is surrounding the concept of dharma and religion. Let us make a little more clearer what it is and what it is not. What we call dharma and what it is. There was an incident in the life story of Swami Vivekananda. I will give very brief gist of it, that there was a wonderful disciple of Swami Vivekananda. His name was Kalyanananda. Swami Kalyanananda, his disciple, who was the founder of a wonderful medical service center started in the holy place called Haridwar or Kankhal. One side is Haridwar, across the river diagonally is a place called Kankhal, and there is located the first hospital built in the entire Himalayan region, and that was originated by that very able, wonderful disciple of Swami Vivekananda when he was a young monastic member of the Belur newly started monastery. And Swami Vivekananda had returned back from his Western journey, and he was living there. Then Kalyanananda was like his assistant and attendant. Then many people used to come to see Swami, and then they would seek his advice, guidance in many different ways. So one day, this young budding monk, he entered into his guru's room and said that, "Can I ask you, sir, a question?" He said, "Yeah, go ahead." And he said that there came this old man, and he was talking about, praising very highly about that you have upheld the Sanatan Dharma and old values of our religion all over the world. You are great, and you stopped him. He said, no, I have told people that the religion is not that, all that thing you have been following throughout for thousands of years. We need to change. And there are this new way, this is religion, not that. You said like that. And then afterwards, another young man came, and when he was talking to you, and he said that, "Oh, I really, I adore you because you broke all those old-fashioned systems and you developed something wonderful, new. You opened our eyes that we don't have to follow the old thing." Then you told him, who told you all like that? I have been carrying with me a bottle of Ganges water, and every day I will take a drop of Ganges water wherever I have been living there to purify myself. I follow all those ancient belief and everything very strictly. So that confused me very much. What you really are teaching, is it our ancient traditions and systems and everything we should follow? Or no, we don't have to, because there's a problem there. We have to, all these new ideas you have brought in and that we have to. Swami Vivekananda said, forget about what I have told to them. You ask me what is good for you and then I can tell you. And Kalyanji, yes sir, please tell me what is good for me. And he advised him and told him that, when I was traveling in Himalayas as a wandering monk, I saw the very pathetic condition of the helpless old and sick monks there. There is no institutional or any other help available to them, nothing. Even the minimum amount of support system is missing. Could you develop something to serve those who live their life as monks, as mendicant monks in those Himalayas? That will be a wonderful thing. That will be a great religious work for you. Spiritually you will benefit. Kalyananji took that advice from him and his guidance, and he went there and he slowly, from very humble level of his service, eventually he developed a hospital there. The point is that it is not one and the same thing that could be told to everybody to follow. Do this, don't do that, and there it ends. It is not really. It is about the suitability of right thing for a particular individual being. So today's topic is there was suitable dharma. That is the topic. That dharma, what is dharma, and is dharma flexible or it is inflexible? It is very strict, certain guidances. We find in the lectures of Swami Vivekananda when he was here in the West, he has defined the word dharma as the inner nature or inner intrinsic quality of a thing. So dharma is not limited to what we follow in the path of our religious belief system and practices. Sanskrit word dharma meant everything, even the non-living dead dull materials also. So he explained it that dharma means the intrinsic quality, like the dharma of water. What is the dharma of water? Well, water can soak and wet, so that is its intrinsic quality. If it loses that ability, then it is no longer water. Suppose the water in a very, very cold place, it becomes very dry ice. You can touch it and still it will not soak anything. Is it water still? No. Molecule-wise, scientists will say it's same molecule, but we don't call it water. It has lost its intrinsic quality or the nature. If it is very dry, vaporized thing, and it is not wetting your cloth anymore, then we don't call it water. We don't call a fire when it has all exhausted its burning ability and the fuel is over and it is sitting in the same spot in the form of ash. We don't call it fire. Prior to that, we used to call it fire because it had its intrinsic or basic quality of burning thing. Now it is not. It is cold. So there is something, this is the Sanskrit word dharma means that. The Sanskrit word dharma means the intrinsic nature or quality. Returning back to the human personality. We have got certain thing within us which is very complex, which is not like a dull material thing. And this complexity has been created on account of our carrying with us two different aspects of us. One is the material aspect and another is the spiritual aspect. We have got both together. An ordinary one human being is not just one thing. It has got material side of it and it has got the spiritual side of it. The pure self also is there inside. So what happens that on the one hand, we have got something that is not absolutely spiritual. Many different tendencies we see. We see people of many different kind. Some are wonderful, great. We honor great saintly personalities. And then we see very vicious personalities also. And there are all sorts of people in between. So these are what we know as samskaras, or the inner tendencies. The tendencies that have been created through many past lives, the deeds and the thoughts, as the Upanishad says, of our past. They have left behind the impression in our subtle body. This subtle body is also a material aspect of us, but not that prominently visible like our physical body. But still it is a material thing. And there is a spiritual aspect in us which is eternally existing and never changing, beautiful, blissful, and it is full of wisdom and light. A glorious aspect within us which is not so clearly visible and therefore not very well understood or recognized at the present state of our existence. So on one hand we are carrying with us some impressions well built and strongly functioning within us. These are we call it human weaknesses or virtues. Everybody has got it. Many good things and many things not so good. We carry them with us. These make our character, our personality. And then we have got our spiritual aspect of it, which is trying to open up, which is trying to blossom. That is the slow but steady progress of the entire human civilization. We see this is happening. We cannot compare our civilization of modern days with the time of medieval period or further going ancient time. We shall see that there is a gradual but steady progress of human society. It is growing, it is blossoming, it is opening up of the inner possibilities, the inner spiritual possibility, the propensity deep within us, the real thing that is trying to open itself up and grow and become one day a saintly person, a God-realized soul, be fully illumined, be like Buddha or Christ or Ramakrishna, wants to become like that. And it is growing that direction. But there is the human propensities and other things that create the personality or the individual character. So these are the two different things that we have to recognize within ourselves. So dharma means both of these. When dharma is in the field of religion, I said that the dharma in the literal meaning in Sanskrit has got a material meaning. In case of matter, it has got one meaning. And in case of a individual being, the dharma has got these two aspects of it. One is about the personality or the inner quality or intrinsic quality of the person, that is the person's dharma. Another is about the higher possibility, that also is dharma, or the exercise of things, exercising, practicing things that opens up that possibility. In that sense, we call our religious practices as dharma. So yes, dharma has got some meaning very strongly associated with our religious practices, but dharma is more than that. Dharma includes everything. This was understood very long time back in India, and we find the great sages who have devised the social norms and the laws, lawmaker, religious lawmaker. They pointed out that it is not the one and the same thing that everybody can follow and should be following, because it is not for the good of either the individual being or the society. It has to be many different sizes and shapes and colors to be provided for different coats to suit different people. Not one coat fits all. So that was understood, and therefore they called it varnashrama dharma, or the dharma that has been further subdivided into two different kinds of classification. One is called varna, and the other is called ashrama. Varna is about different loosely called vocation, and ashrama is different stages in the individual life. So different kinds of propensities in humankind will define that who is fit for what. We see that this has been also understood and practiced in one way or other in other part of the world also. For example, it has been a practice among the Catholic families hundreds of years back, that if there will be many sons, and usually those days a family will have many children, so all the sons will be going to different vocations. One of them will be a priest, another will go for a sheriff's office, become a cop, another will join the armed forces and defend the country, another will become a school teacher maybe, another will run the family business or the farm or something. The point is that the entire society needs its people who are capable and who are expert and who are willing to take the responsibility of doing its job in that area of protection and support system. So that was there. In India, it was called Varnashrama Dharma. They called the Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. And different categories of workforce. One kind of work doesn't match with another kind of work. And a person who is in one kind of work should be constantly growing in experience and wisdom and knowledge and become expert in performing in that area. And there was this kind of division made. And another kind of division is that within the same group, there are different stages in life, not the same kind of ability and responsibility expected from a child that is available at a grown-up person or is equal to a very elderly old person. They have got different levels of their ability and their possibility of performing. And then there was one category separated called the category of monks, who will be renouncing all their responsibilities and all their obligations of this kind of a structure in a society for the sake of one pointed goal of realizing the highest truth. That was also realized that it is not so simple and easy. Realization of the highest truth, call it God realization or self-realization, it is so very a difficult job that it needed a wholehearted, one-pointed, whole-time effort for a long period of tenacious trying. And therefore, this fourth category of those who are renunciates, that means who have given up all the obligations and responsibility of this social life, that was there. So together that made this a different kind of a social order called Varnashrama Dharma. Nowadays people all the time, they blame the caste system in Hindu society. They say the degradation of the entire society, the Hindu society, and the degradation of India as a particular human civilization, for everything you blame the caste system. It is easy to say so. It was not like that. The degradation began after the caste system became so very rigid that the different castes or these four different groups or classification of people were not according to their intrinsic quality of the person who is right person for which kind of job. Instead of that, it became who is born in which family. So it became a hereditary thing. Whether you are suitable or not, you are born here, you go there, like that. So, whole lot of disqualified people, unqualified people, they took up whole lot of jobs that were not suited to them. And that brought down the whole house, you know. Like what we see in the nowadays, occasionally people blame the Catholic Church for immoral practices of many of their priests. People who are not suited for that job, they went into that kind of a job and they brought down the good name of the church. So whom to blame? There is a problem, but problem is somewhere else. It is not about the particular kind of a work or a particular kind of a belief system. It is about the unsuitability of a person to practice a particular dharma. It is unsuitable dharma. We need to know the suitable dharma. Who is suited to what? If the right person goes for the right kind of a job, it benefits the person and the job. And people who come there, they also are benefited. It has to be understood. Sri Ramakrishna was a master of giving examples. So he gave this example that the mother cooks for her own children different dishes. He said dishes of fish, because Bengalis are fish eaters, so he gave that example which will be quickly understood. He said that different dishes of the fish mother is cooking according to this taste and the ability to digest of the children. So there are two different things here. One is the taste. Not that everybody likes one kind of a dish or another. One is too spicy, so no, I don't like it, one child might say. Another is too simple, and that some child says, I like spicy. Could you put some chili into it? So it is the like, who likes what. And then even somebody would say, oh, I like spicy food, but may not be able to digest it. And if that food is served to that child, he might have a stomach problem afterward. So mother knows which food suits whom. Accordingly, she prepares different dishes. This is the idea behind the different ways the same dharma could be served for suiting different people to their taste when they like it. If it is not done, then it will harm them. He gave another example. He says that the worm that grows and thrives in the filth, if you put that worm in a bowl of cooked nice flavored rice, it will die there, he said. And vice versa. The worm that grows in a rice pot, if you leave it for a long time, and you pick that worm and put it in the filth, it will die immediately. What does that mean? By that example, it means that it is where you mostly are suited and you can grow and you can thrive. It is not about it is good, bad, right, wrong. There is no such thing in the highest teachings of the Dharma or the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna. Nothing is, it is inferior, that is superior, that is better. No, it is not about inferior or superior. It is about the suitability. What helps you to grow and grow from there. Because nothing to hurry about. This is, don't hurry. It is not that it is one life and you have to finish it. There is a whole lot of time and opportunities in the belief system of the Upanishadic Dharma in the Vedanta. It is more about suitability and fitness than about unnecessarily jumping the ship and trying to reach there right now. Because if you are not suited for that, if you are not fit for that, it is not going to help you in any way. Whatever you could have otherwise made your progress, that also will be hampered. So this is the point. That dharma means this, you have to check your inner propensities or your personality, and then where you should better and how you progress from there. So coming down to religion, when dharma is translated into the form of your religiosity or practices, then we find that there are three kinds of religious concept or ideas available. Not that it is just one. One is about the ritualistic form of practicing religion. Second one is becoming deeply believing in and practicing in ethical and moral principles. And a third kind of religiosity is found when people enter into transcendental level of their spirituality. Three different kinds of practices we can see. And they are very real and they are beneficial to different kind of people. In general, if we try to understand a person who is religious, when we try to define, what do we say? oh, this person goes to the Sunday service, every Sunday we see the person going and he is contributing his part of supporting the cause, and then he attends all sorts of ceremonies and these practices he does. Every morning he does this, every evening he does that, and he doesn't eat meat and he or any such thing, or he does this kind of thing, etc., etc. Sometime it goes further, and what kind of dress a person wears and what kind of a sign on the forehead and many different things by that, or he or she has visited so many different temples and places of pilgrimages and taken a dip in the holy river Jordan at the same place where Jesus was baptized. Think of it. Or visited this holy shrine in Jerusalem where such and thing happened. Or exact the cave-like church of nativity. In all religion it is similar thing. From outer thing, you say this person must be very religious. A person who is following some kind of a religious practices, behavior appears absolutely perfect. This man is religious. But on a closer study, perhaps you'll find occasional slip in the area of truthfulness maybe, or the person, he has got a business and doesn't mind hiding something from his business partner, benefiting from there a little bit, or stealing some money from the government with the help of some tax, very fine tax lawyer who will calculate in a particular way, save you some money. They won't call it steal money, they will call it save money. You can save some amount of tax by not showing this, showing that, and doing this way, that way, or many other ways. On a different kind of, under different kind of magnifying glass, that might be considered a immoral practice, unethical, immoral. And if you tell the person, he'll say, no, it is not illegal, he'll say. It is not illegal, he'll say. Everything is open. If you are saying that I have done something wrong, then show me if I have done something wrong, illegal. Can it be tried at the court of justice and punished accordingly, according to our constitution? Unless it is done, I have not done anything wrong. That person will claim. But it may be very evident that the man is slipping in the areas of morality. So there are some people who will say, what is the meaning of going to the church and going to this and that and following certain ceremonies and showing yourself religious? This is not a real religion, lies in moral life. Going by the strict ethical and moral principles, that is all that matters. During the time of Sri Ramakrishna, he visited one wonderful person who was highly regarded in his time. He was a great philanthropist, a great educationist, and a very noble and kind-hearted person. He will help anybody and everybody irrespective of who he or she was or what was their background. His name was Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. And we find in the gospel of his visit to the Vidyasagar, that Vidyasagar, who was the top moral, ethically principled person and living his life wonderfully, did not believe in going to a temple or bowing down, paying obeisance to a god or goddess or celebrating any kind of religious ceremonies. He did not believe in all these things. But he was a wonderful man, strictest to the core of it in his moral and ethical life. So there are always in this world some people who believe that I am religious, this is religion. What is religion? If you cannot follow the basic moral principles, then just by attending to some kind of services and celebrating some kind of a religious celebrations and making a fanfare of it, is that a religious life? I don't believe so. A moral man will say. And a religious person will completely disagree, church-goer or a temple-goer or a mosque-goer. He will say, no, it is not that. Those who are holding on to the Lord, and they will give a name to the Lord. He is Savior Jesus or Savior Krishna or Savior Rama or Savior Allah, somebody who is the Savior. Holding on to Him alone will protect you. If you don't take refuge in Him, forget it. You may go doing all of these ethical things, but that is not ultimately going to save you or protect you. So there are these two extremities are there. What is then what? What is right and what is wrong? Is this moralist saying the right thing, or is the person who is strictly following his particular church or synagogue or temple or mosque principles and guidelines or advices? Who is right? Whom to follow? It is always better to follow the great teachers who come to us from time to time. We call them the messenger sent by God, or the Son of God, or we call the prophet, or we call the God incarnated in human form. Better follow them instead of taking advice from the people. What they say, what they are doing. So in our time we find, very recently had come Sri Ramakrishna, and in his life we see the wonderful blending of both of them. We find he never said that, this ritualistic worship is only the very preliminary level of religiosity. After you have done a little bit, then you can discard it and it is no more necessary. On the other hand, slightest amount of unethical or immoral thing, he could not touch it, tolerate it. He will be having so much pain. Both of these things are together, blended in one life. And he is advising people, accept both of them and keep moving. More you grow in your spiritual life, more you will become naturally a absolutely moral and ethically settled person. In his words, that a person who has learned dancing and become an expert dancer will never be able to make a misstep. It is just impossible for him. Similarly, for a singer or a painter or somebody, a wonderful chef who can cook wonderful dishes. Even quickly making a meal, he will be able to deliver a very tasty, wonderful dish. It is impossible for that person to have too much imbalance in how much salt or spice or oil or something has been added. It is impossible. It is just unthinkable. So religiously developed a person will automatically grow in ethical and moral principles if his abiding by the rules of the religion is true, if the person is sincere. Sincerity is a very important factor. Rest of the thing will automatically be added to the person. Jesus Christ said in one place very famously that those who have got this religion, more will be added to him. If you are progressing, if you are looking for it, if you are seeking for it, and you have got something, then more will be given to you. It will automatically come to you, don't worry. This advice we find in the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna and in the teachings of other spiritual great teachers. For example, there is a famous saying in Bhagavad Gita where Sri Krishna says, even if a sinful person, and he didn't stop by saying a sinful person, he says a terribly sinful person becomes very devoted to me, very quickly he will be cleansed of all his sinful tendencies and he will become a saintly person very, very quickly. Apichet suduracharo bhajate mam anannabhak sadhureva samantabhya samyak vyavasito hicha chipram bhavati dharmatma sasvachantim nigacchati kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashati. He says, I am not going into detail, this is the meaning, that even if a person is awfully sinful, but he has turned towards me and he is becoming totally devoted to me, then within very short period of time he will be a saintly person. And we see this thing happen again and again. In the life story of Saint Paul we have seen 2000 years back, during the advent of Buddha this has happened. During the time of Sri Ramakrishna we saw how the transformation of Girish Chandra Ghosh happened very quickly, rapidly, unbelievably. The person became a saintly person. Within a period of maybe 8-10 years, he was a totally transformed man. What is a 10 years period for a lifetime or life after life after life? Nothing. So it is absolutely possible that a person who is holding on to a certain kind of spiritual path very sincerely, genuinely longing for the growth and development, will gradually evolve in other areas where he or she might be failing at some point of time. That we call slips and failures in that strict principles of ethical and moral values. Even if it is there, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. That person, if the person is sincerely praying to the Lord to come closer to Him, then all the negativity, all the darknesses, all the problems in the life will be going away. So don't worry about it. And then there is a third kind of religious thing, religiosity, which transcends both of these. That is the transcendental form of practicing dharma, dharma of the third kind. dharma of the third kind. It is about not necessarily trying to hold on to the Lord any more necessary, and not any more necessary to pay attention to whether you are following the moral and ethical virtues strictly. You don't have to. A person who has attained a transcendental level of dharma on account of his or her some kind of spiritual opening up of the heart center or awakening or some level of illumination achieved on account of the progress made in the path of spiritual practices, such a person gradually will be free from following those rules of the first and the second kind of definition of dharma. And this is the transcendental dharma. We find it in the life stories of great saintly figures who not necessarily will be practicing things strictly. In the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, we find that when the author of Gospel, he visits him, and then in the evening time, he thought that Ramakrishna is born in the Brahmin family, so he has to do the evening prayers called Gayatri prayer. So he said, oh, so now perhaps it is your time to do some prayer, so I am leaving you alone. Then Sri Ramakrishna, who was entering into a deep mood of this bhava, transcendental mood, and unable to speak very clearly, still he said, Sandhya Bandhana? Not really, he said. And later on he explained another time that for him it is no longer anymore a necessity to strictly follow the rules of you have to get up in this time of the morning, you have to do this kind of prayer, you have to do that, you cannot eat this, you cannot do this. And not really, he said. But for him it was not known at the time. Gradually he learned. So that is a transcendental dharma level. When a person has reached a higher level of spiritual illumination, he or she doesn't require to strictly follow rules, but for everybody else it is necessary. How necessary? Sri Ramakrishna says, just like you know in the paddy, the most important thing is the rice, that is the kernel of the paddy. The rice is the important thing. The rice is something that you boil and eat, and it nourishes you. So in the paddy, the husk part, the sap, is unnecessary. The rice, the kernel is the real thing. But can you imagine that rice will help you grow another plant and bring you more of the similar things? No. It will require whole thing, the husk and the covering is also important there. Can you think that when it is very tender and green, you remove the skin from there and inside portion will still grow and become a full rice? No, it will not happen. So, both have got its own values and benefits. And we should not overlook the benefit of one in favor of another. If the kernel never grows from inside, sometimes it becomes sick, some kind of moth-eaten or something. And outside it looks like a full seed of something, but inside there is nothing. Then also it is not going to help you. Both of them are necessary. So we have to stick to both areas and try to grow further and then eventually transcend all these things. So what is the benefit of this class today? when we learn that dharma is not strictly one set of rules, do this, don't do that, etc., for everybody. Because if we make that kind of a rule, then it doesn't match everyone. Arjuna went to the battlefield and he said that I don't want to kill people because killing people is not a very religious thing. It is, bloodshedding is immoral. And Krishna said, no, that is your dharma. Keep killing your enemies like that. So for one person it is not right, don't lie, don't kill, don't steal. Yes, that is basic dharma. For another person, it is not true. It is not true. He has to do according to his dharma, and there is certain reason what he is doing, why he is doing. Knowing that, we can grow our wisdom and be willing to accept people who are at different levels of their status and stages of life. If we don't understand this thing, that there is a concept of suitability of dharma, that different people are suited for that different level of their practice, we can become dogmatic, we can become very fanatic, we can become intolerant, we can start hating people outright, and that is not the way to progress in spiritual life. If you are carrying in your heart hatred for others, if you are finding problems in everybody, now and then, all the time, keeping your heart sour and terrible, you are actually not progressing in your religious life. Spiritual life is in understanding people and tolerating people and loving and accepting people at whatever level, wherever they are, in many different. Somebody is not that good, somebody is not that wonderful, still you accept the person. The teachings of Holy Mother is wonderful. She says, don't find problem in others. This is a religious teaching. This is a religious teaching. That if you don't find problem in others, then you are actually accepting that everybody is standing in his or her place, and from there he or she is trying to progress, and that is fine. It is according to the God's rule. It is he or she is in the hands of the Divine Almighty. Let him take care of him. Who I am to judge him or her, which is a basic principle in the Christianity also. Don't judge anybody. Don't find problem with others. Try to just connect yourself with the divine and not all the time try to find problem in the all around you. If you can do that, it makes your life and your spiritual growth much superior and better. So this is the benefits side of this thing, that when we accept the diversity in human life and human society, then we accept the diversity as a gift of God, and the perfect ideal and perfect uniformity and highest values and everything, we don't try to find in others. We try to imbibe those things within us, and more we grow in that way, we make our life better, and we don't fall into any kind of disappointment and problems in our mind. So this is the way to go, and this is the way to practice our own religiosity, and this is the way to bring sanity and peace to our own self. Thank you.